In this episode, we're completing the game. Hello and welcome to How to Create a Vampire Survivors Clone in Godot 4. So today we're going to complete our game, and before we do anything I'm just going to fix a small mistake I made. So this export var damage shares a similar argument with this hurt box, so I am going to quickly just be typing in enemy underscore damage here, and I'm just going to be going through there, so we have to also do just enemy underscore damage here to make that work, and I'm just going to be making it so that we fix some of the damage values. So our Cyclops had 5 damage, our Juggernaut had 8 damage, our Kobold Strong had 2 damage, our weak Kobold only had 1 damage, that's fine, and our super had 20 damage. So I'm just going to do a control save all scenes to fix that, and now we'll continue with the rest of the tutorial. So the first thing we're going to be doing is adding a def panel, which we're just going to be making as a very similar duplicate of the level up panel. So I'm just going to be doing level up. Instead of this, I'm just going to be doing def panel. And we're just going to be dragging this drop off to around where we want it. So this label level up is going to be changed to, I'm just going to get my reference script up. There we go. So this is going to be called label result. And we're going to be removing the upgrade options since we don't really need the upgrade options in here. And I'm also going to be just duplicating the level up sound, but we're going to be calling this sound underscore victory. We're also going to be having sound underscore lose. And I'm also going to be having a button associated with this panel, which we're going to do more with later. But to start with, I'm just going to add the victory sound. So if I type in victory, we've got victory.wav, which when we play is the sound of our intro, and that is going to be our victory. There's no loop there, so that's all good. And for our lose sound, I'm just going to type in lose and drag and drop there. This is set to loop, so I'm going to re-import this as a non-loop, and we'll just play this. And this is going to be our lose sound. So our result, I'm just going to change this to result. And we're going to be making this button a little bit more kind of, well, different to just a regular node. In fact, we're going to be making it its own scene. So I'm going to be saving this new button under utility, and it's going to be named basic underscore button. .tsn, and we're going to go in here and we're just going to be adding a couple of things to it. So we're going to be adding 2 sounds. One is going to be a hover sound. So if I type in audio stream player here and I just duplicate it, I'm going to make this sound underscore hover, and I'm going to have sound underscore click. And we're just going to add our sounds to it. So if I type in hover, I'll just drag and drop this here and we'll play the sound. Just a nice quick sound. And for click, so, and those are going to be the 2 sounds. So I'm just going to Control S save them and add a script. So the idea behind this is that we are going to send a signal that is going to determine when we have clicked the button. And you'll see why we're not just going to be using the built-in pressed signal a little bit later. But first of all, we're going to be playing our hover sound. So this is going to be on the base button, and we are going to be get the mouse entered signal. So we're just going to connect that. And with this, we are going to be playing the sound underscore hover dot play. And then if we press the button, which is going to be, so we're just going to connect the pressed now, we're going to be playing the sound underscore click dot play. So when we hover over it, it'll play hover. When we click it, we'll play click. And only after the click sound has completely played with our audio stream player finished, this is when we're going to emit our emit signal, click end. And this just means that we always fully play the click sound before we actually do anything with the button. So I'm just gonna pretty this up a tiny bit. So we're gonna leave the alignment as the exact same. I'm just gonna type in example, and I'm gonna be changing the layout just to be a little bit more kind of standard. So we're going to be making a custom minimum size of 80 pixels on the x-axis and 30 pixels on the y-axis. And then for the theme override, we're going to just have our font, so OTF for our tenderness font, drag it in there, and I believe we want this to be 20 pixels. So this is going to be our button. And so now when we go back into our player, this is where our button is going to be. I'm going to move this to a specific location. So we're going to be doing 60, let's do 60x on the panel. And I'm just going to check exactly where I put the panel, where I put this button. Yep, so 200y. So that's where that is going to be. I'm going to be calling this button underscore menu. And I'm also going to be typing menu instead of example for this button, and I think that's going to work pretty well. So now we have to connect all this. So I'm going to access the label result as a unique node, and do the same for victory, and do the same for my lose sound. So I'm going to be doing a onReady var def panel, and this is just going to equal a get node def panel, and we're just going to be doing onReady var label result equals get node label underscore result. onReady var sound victory equals get node sound underscore victory. And finally, for our lose sound, onReady var sound lose equals get node sound underscore lose. All right, cool. Finally, we're done that. So now we need to go into our hurt box. So, well, our hurt signal. So we are going to be creating a signal, well, a function called def. So we're going to be doing if HP is less or equal than 0, we're going to call a function called def, which we're just going to add here, function def. And so what is the def function going to do? Well, number one, it's going to be making the def panel visible equals true. So we're just going to make these two invisible again. So since we want them to be visible, so we'll just go back in there. We are going to make it so that we're going to pause our game. So get tree.paused equals true, and it should be said that because we duplicated our level up, this inherits the when paused process, so that's all done in there. And then we're going to create a tween. So var tween equals def panel dot create tween. And then we're just going to tween the process at tween dot tween property. And we're going to be tweening our def panel by its position. The final position is going to be vector 2 220x 50y. This is going to be done over 3.0 seconds. And we're going to be setting the translation to quint and the ease type to ease out. So set ease equals ease out. And then we're just going to play the tween. So tween.play. If time is less or equal to 300, we'll just do label results dot text equal you win. And then we're just going to play the victory sound. So sound victory dot play. And if the time is below 300, we're going to set this as you lose, with the lose sound playing. So sound lose dot play, and that is effectively going to be our def function. So I'm just going to quickly play this, set the enemy smarter to 299. So that means we should very quickly win. So we get to the 5-minute mark and we should die very quickly. And because we're over the 5-minute mark, we win. And we have this menu button that does absolutely nothing. So that's all good. However, if we set this to, let's do 239, we'll should be get ourselves, yes, the Juggernaut, who is going to absolutely destroy us. And we're going to get the you lose. And once again, a menu that does nothing. So the next thing we're going to be doing is adding that menu. And this is going to be kind of our main menu. So I'm going to add a new user interface node, which is just going to be a control. And I'm going to be adding a couple of nodes to this one. So first of all, I'm just going to be calling this menu. And I'm also going to be adding a color rect, which I'm going to drag over here. I'm going to be making this sort of like a, kind of like just a nice sort of orange, red, dark, just a nice color. I'm also going to be adding a label, and this is just going to be the title of our game. I'm going to set this to be center and center. I'm going to make it so that the layout is 640 by 100. I'm going to be adding in our tenderness font, and I'm going to be making the font size 72, and we can just name our game. I'm going to call my game Survivors Clone number 13,247, because there are a lot of Survivors clones out there. So that works out pretty well. I'm going to do a Control S to save it, and I'm going to save this in a new folder called Title Screen. And I'm going to be adding some buttons. So this is just going to be our button scene over here. So we're going to have a button, and I'm going to be adding another button as well. So one of these buttons is going to be called play. The other button is going to be called quit. So the play button is going to be button_play. The exit button is going to be called, well, in fact, I think instead of quit, I'm just going to call this as exit. And I'm going to position them specifically in our position here. So this is going to be 280 by 250. And for our button exit, in our layout, we're going to do 280 and 290. So these are all pretty good locations, and I'm just going to be adding a script to the menu. And this is going to be a script where we load our player onto the level. So var level equals, and we'll just get to the world. I'm just going to drag and drop that there. So our level will equal the world scene that we have. And then we're going to be connecting our click end GD script signal there. So when the click sound ends, we are going to, on the play, we're going to be going to that scene by doing get tree dot change scenes to file, and we're going to be choosing our level, which is a string. And for the exit, to actually exit our game, we're just going to be doing a get tree dot quit. So that all works quite well. The next thing I'm going to do is just set the kind of default scene from world to that menu screen that we just created. So at the moment when we play our game, it starts on the world. If we want to change that, we're just going to go to project settings, and yeah, we choose the main scene as our menu. So now if I save that and play, you'll see that we start on the menu screen. If I exit the game, that's all good. It plays the click sound, so that's all good. And if I play, I'll start off here in a game which I don't think I can easily win. So we're gonna exit from that. Though I should just quickly die to just make sure that the main menu works, which I don't think it actually does yet. So we're going to go into our player, going to go in our button menu, and we're going to click on this click end and connect it to our player. And like our def, so we want to send the player to the menu. So that's what we're going to do here. So we are going to unpause the game first off. So get tree dot paused equals false, because everything's still in pause mode. So we want to unpause it, and then we want to change our scene to the main scene. So get tree dot change file to scene, and we're going to do the and we're just going to do the menu here. So I'm just going to drag and drop that here, and there is our menu. So now if we play and we die, so we can see that we're getting absolutely destroyed. We're going to lose. We click on the menu and we're back, and we can start playing the game again, or we can exit the game. So the last thing I think I want to do is add music. So I'm going to add a audio stream player to our world, and I'm going to be calling this sound underscore music. And we are going to be playing our wonderful battle theme A. Once you guys start getting into game jams, you're going to be hearing this song a lot. We do want this to be set on loop, and I want this to be auto playing. And I'm also going to be reducing the volume by 15 decibels because it's quite loud, but I'll just show you what it sounds like. So this is going to be playing when we start our game. And I'm going to be adding a script to this node, and I'm just going to be locating this script in the audio music folder, and it's just going to be called sound underscore music. And the idea behind this is that we want to stop playing this when the player levels. Oh, well, not when the player levels up. In fact, if we want it to continue to play when the level's up, we have to make this always play, because it won't play if it's paused. So we're going to set that to always. But when the player dies, we want this to stop playing. So in our player, we need to create a signal called, and I'm just going to do a comment called signal, and we're just going to do signal player def, or just, yeah. We're just going to have a signal called player def, and we are going to in our def function, before we pause it, we're going to be doing a emit signal player def. Easy as that. We're going to be going into our world, we're going to go into our node, and we are going to connect it to the sound music script. Just going to remove this junk, and all we're going to be doing is just doing playing equals false if the player dies. So now when we play our game, we'll be playing, and if we die, we will most likely, we'll see that the music stops. We can go back and we can play again. And that is pretty much our game. So now all we need to do is just play test it once and make sure it kind of works. We may have to play test it a couple of times, but I'm going to also go into project settings, and I'm going to set the mode to full screen. We are going to Control S, we're going to play this, and we are going to play an entire game of our Vampire Survivors clone. So we're just going to be starting off by trying to collect as much experience before things get absolutely crazy. Which would be nice if we actually were able to choose an enemy a couple of times in a row. Alright, so we got this. I'm going to choose the tornado because I really could use some more attacks. There we go. There's a tornado that did a bit of damage. But definitely we're struggling. Oh, and I'm going to go for the ring because that's a really powerful upgrade in this. And now, hopefully we're on slightly easy mode now. It says we got our main, we got all 3 weapons. And they're just gonna rip through everything. I may increase my speed just to be able to maneuver out a tiny bit. And you'll see that we have our new enemy, which is going to be the Strong Kobold. We're just going to be a little bit worried about that. I think I'm going to make my javelins just a little bit stronger as well. And we'll get the scroll to give ourselves slightly quicker attacks. And we're just going to continue to survive the onslaught. Oh, we've got another ring, which is awesome. So we're just going to be doing more and more damage. So we've got the maximum amount of rings, which means we're kind of destroying everything. I'm going to increase the size of my attacks now. So they're just even more devastating. We'll start upgrading the Ice Spear as well. And we'll just continue to upgrade the Ice Spear to do more damage and pass through an enemy. And the music just started to loop around again, so we have continuous music. And we're just kind of destroying the entire map. So maybe there will need to be some balancing in the future, but that's really up to you with how you decide to balance this game. Starting to get the Cyclopses, which are a bit slow, but they take a lot of damage. but they're definitely killable. And pretty easy to avoid, all things considered. And their blue gems give out more experience. I'm just gonna max out on my ice spear. And we finally got our Juggernaut. So I'm gonna continue to upgrade my weapons. And we're just gonna try and destroy this Juggernaut. And we did! So we level up since we got the red gem. Gonna increase the javelin by a bit, and yeah. All looking pretty good. And now we have huge amounts of these strong kobolds coming after me. But we're almost at the end of the game, where the big blob just destroys us. Which we can't avoid, and we have won. And so, by the looks of it, we have a complete game. I'm going to exit, and we're going to call it there. There's a bit to go over in Fury time, and I will be doing one more episode on optimization at a later date, but I'll need some more time to do that. But otherwise, you now have a functioning demo of a Vampire Survivors clone. Congratulations! When the player's HP reaches 0 or below 0, we call the def function. The def function will tween a panel to the center of the screen. If the time is at or over 5 minutes, then the victory sound will play. If below, then the lose sound will play. A signal is also sent out to stop the music. The button works in a very simple fashion. If you hover over it, it will make a sound. There does seem to be a bug in full screen mode where they aren't focused and therefore won't make a sound, but I just turned on borderless and that seems to have fixed the issue. If you click the button, a sound will play, and after the sound plays, a signal will be sent out to whatever function it's connected to. In our cases, this seems to change the scene or quit the game.
Donkey.